Hi guys, good afternoon, good evening, and today I'm here with Suresh Chintalpodi. Many of you know Suresh. Suresh comes with more than 15 plus years of rich experience in dealing with utility GIS solutions, primarily on the GE Smallworld technologies. I remember that when the initial days of the field mobility solutions, when we talked about GIS, there used to be rugged laptops, rugged tabs, and all right.
Right,
In the
right,
most modern implementation, what you are referring, the field users making field changes
uh,
dynamically on the fly.
right.
Can you throw some light about the kind of mobility devices?
Excuse me. So, okay. So even customer is interested to use their own personal devices also. So they
Your
are
own
so very exactly. So bring their own device. So they are fine to use there, but we have suggested to use tablets to have more accuracy. But at least the main preference for customer is to have the data in the system first at the first level. So they are encouraging whatever is the device they have at the customer, and our solution is definitely fitting to that. So they can use any smaller mobile. Like of course nowadays 5.5 inches is the minimum size of mobiles they are using, which is okay to have accuracy. But at least to start with, they are encouraging all the field members to use whatever mobile device they have to input data. So that way we have gain some mileage there so that the data is coming back into the system.
Got you. Got you. So a simple $100 to $200 worth of a mobile or a tablet which is running on Android, is that something decent enough to roll out a field crew?
Absolutely, yes. Okay, now coming to Small World and this mobility solution. Now that Small World integration framework, as I mentioned earlier, it has opened up so many opportunities for us to directly talk to Small World databases. So with that and solid Android, iPhone, whatever is the mobile, so with simple web services, we are able to hit back into the database and get the data into Small World. So yes, it's working perfectly fine now.
Wonderful. So just throw some light around the kind of it, because GIS data is more of a map centric, and we end up imagining about different layers and different features about the assets.
Right.
Uh, how these lightweight mobile devices perform in bringing those that amount of data onto the field? Any challenges you see in terms of the network bandwidth, speed, and the performance of the mobile?
Uh, right now their major focus is connected network. When I say connected network, uh, we told them that better be in the network area, in the sense the service provider mobile network region, so that the data flows back into the system easily. So we have majorly focused on online connectivity for this customer at least, but of course we have a solution which is which can work offline as well. But these customers prefer to have more online connectivity. So whenever they want to update some data, say for example they went for a field inspection of number of poles, they found a pole missing. So regularly when they carry their mobile, when they go onto the field, so of course GPS location gets updated, so tiles flows from Small World onto the mobile. And when they found a device is missing, they do a simple clicks on the mobile. So that particularly takes care of the topology, as I said, which is the key point, because Small World has very sensitivity with topology. So if there is topology missing, then the quality routines fail, and the overall performance of the system degrades. So the first thing we ensured is, though with minimum interaction on mobile by the user, we ensured that the topology is taken care in the backend. And so all the topological connectivity gets established on the server. So the click, the geometrical location, and the associated objects flows back into Small World. And Small World takes care of all the topology connection, and they put a pole, they connect all the conductors that is actually going around, and it ensures that all the topological connectivity is established, and from there the data flows. So we made sure the minimum clicks are done on mobile, and the data is flowing back into Small World, so that there is lesser load, and it doesn't hang the device or something like that. So
Got
the load is minimized on the client on the front end side, and the maximum performance is taken onto the back end database thing. So we have balanced it out in terms of performance as in terms of user interactions as well.
got. So traditionally, Suresh, in a small world environment, we used to refer the users as a desktop, web, and mobile users, right?
Correct.
Particularly in this particular project, I have noted that you guys has upgraded the customer from an old SIAS to a modernized web application.
Right, we
So
did, yes.
what it all went in, and can you throw some thoughts and line on it?
Sure. uh, when they were using SIAS, like basically, as I said, their major problem was updating data back from web into or updating data into the small world database. So they had a solution where they redline something on SIAS, and the data comes back into small world. Some digitizer sits there, like basically some desktop operator sits there and creates the data. So now with the latest Kubernetes and all that, what we did is we created or we developed services so that the same service is used both on web and on mobile also. So either the user can directly sit on web and create the data whatever that is needed, or they can go onto the mobile and do it. So it is up to the user, whichever they feel comfortable. The updated framework, the updated framework, web framework of or integration framework rather, I would call, for small world has really helped in making this thing easy. So now, yes, it is desktop, and I would call web user because web is more moving on to mobile now. So
Yeah.
it is either, I mean, I do not differentiate here because technically
Like
we design.
more simplified to be back office user on the field user, maybe.
Exactly. I would call that way. Yeah. So the front end user and the back office user. That's it. So because the same services are reutilized, so that maintenance of the system comes down, and at the same time, efficiency of the system is much better because the loggings and everything to debug something if there is any issue, it is easier for us. So yes, it's up to the user. Some people found web more convenient because they are sitting more at office, but some people have found mobile is more convenient, so they are preferring to use mobile more.
Gotcha. That's a very good point. So I also noted that there are very interesting integrations with systems like SAP, MDAS, SCADA. So is
Yes.
that your experience of similar kind of integration in the olden days versus now?
Oh, okay. Yes. So yeah,
Love to hear about that.
absolutely. I worked on uh, SAP integration somewhere around 10 years ago, and a similar type of integration now. So there is a lot of difference. System has matured a lot with particularly with web services coming into picture. I think it made life very easy. Uh, so so they had integration with JBoss system earlier. SIAS, using SIAS, they developed some services, but that was very tedious for them to basically understand what is going wrong, or where it has actually failed. So our what we did is basically we renewed all those services and made sure that all of them are cleanly integrated. When I said cleanly, why I particularly mentioned cleanly is there was some data missing in the old integration, so which created some reporting problems, reporting issues on SAP side for them. So we made it much better. We made it more clean, and luckily the platform has also really helped in doing that, because uh, developing new web service in small world has become easier now. So it's more straightforward, simpler to do, and the main piece of developing uh, the APIs is actually taken care very conveniently and comfortably. So the same GSS platform, when I say Geospatial Server Platform, is used for as product like SBI Small World Business Integrator, which is SAP product as such. So, but for this customer, wherever we are, I'm talking about, doesn't own a Small World Business Integrator license, but still we are able to achieve most of the functionality because they do not have a synchronous process, which is a major chunk, I would say, or a main point in SBI. So which is more important when to propose SBI as a product. But here they wanted to have an integration, web service based integration. So we built all the services integrated with this SAP cleanly, and it is working perfectly good. Data is getting synchronized very well, and the flow, like when the data gets integrated into SAP, it has to make sure the data is populated well onto the web users as well. So this flow is also taken very carefully with the backend processes, nightly builds and all that. So that is now foolproof, fully integrated system with SAP, as well as the data flowing back to the web users timely. So that's very important now.
Can you throw some light around what kind of interface actually is being integrated between SAP and GIS? What the business use?
Uh, okay, so I'll give you an example. So when there is a failure of a transformer, okay, uh, so the field crew has to get the transformer replaced. It is the responsibility of the lineman or the assistant engineer who works at the place. So they definitely have to replace the transformer. So for that they have a process. They have to go back to SAP, pass the indent, and then they get a transformer. This is the typical process they used to follow earlier. But now with GIS coming into picture, so we have to maintain those assets also in GIS, so that we know what asset is moved out from what location to other location later on. So what we propose to them is to start the process from web. Okay, so when there is a problem, when a transformer failed, so they will say that okay, this transformer failed. They will mark it on web. So that transformer failure gets integrated or notified. SAP gets notified with the transformer failure. So there they deinstall that, they uninstall that transformer at that particular, we call it functional location. So the location where the transformer is actually lying. So they will remove that from that functional location, means that transformer is no more valid for that functional location. So when it gets unassociated or uninstalled from that functional location, that place remains vacant. So SAP will allow that place to be filled with a new transformer.
Gotcha.
So then they will get an asset ID generated, and they will put that asset ID onto a transformer, and the transformer then goes to the crew, to the front end person, to get it go back to install onto the field. So this is the process we automated again, because until the GIS gets up to date, updated with that data, it is not valid, because we still think that the old asset is still lying there, which is not the real case. Neither we have to go back to SAP, verify so many things to identify what is the specification of a transformer and all that. But however, with this process, everything gets synchronized, and now after placing the transformer on field, the field user immediately updates either in the mobile or on web. They update it into GIS, so we know that up to date specification transformer is actually lying on the field. So this is one use case, a simple use
Yes,
case.
absolutely. I'm just trying to assess, get a feel of what kind of a business uses utilities must think, when they're talking about the
Absolutely.
GIS and SAP.